Hello and welcome to Reflection Point Conversations. I'm Michelle Obeda, an art director and 3D artist. In this podcast series, I'll be interviewing experts in the fields of art, architecture, and visualization. Together, we will take a deep dive into the disruptive topics that have reached an inflection point in our industry. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment to like, rate, and subscribe. You can also comment and give feedback. I'd love to reach more people and grow this amazing community. Today, I'm talking with Gunay Demirci. Gunay is an Arch Viz artist with an impressive resume. She was born in northern Cyprus and moved to London in the 90s, where she studied drama and theatre arts at Goldsmith University. When she realised the theatre industry was difficult to make a living, she looked for other creative jobs and found architectural visualization at a company called Rock Hunter, which is where we both met. She learned how to make photoreal imagery and progressed her career at a few other studios, including working in-house at Wilkinson Air for 5 years. She now works at one of the leading studios in the industry, DBOX. Gunay has been proud to work on iconic buildings in London such as Battersea Power Station, 18 Bishopsgate, 18 Blackfriars, and in Melbourne, Queensbridge Tower. Welcome, Gunay.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. It's great to have you here. I'm so excited. Just for anyone who doesn't know, we worked together. We met working together at Rock Hunter many years ago now, and we've been good friends since. And I'm very excited to talk to you about all the things.
Yes, same here. Guys, I'm super excited. Thank you for inviting me and having me on your podcast.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about all the things that we normally chat about anyway.
all the normal chat, but just recording it.
Yes.
So yeah, let's get to it. So I wanted to ask you, you studied theatre design. What got you interested in architectural visualization? How did you get into that?
Okay. Pure coincidence. But at that time when I've finished my degree, graduated from Goldsmith, I was looking for work to support myself, but nothing that I found was satisfying enough in terms of satisfying my crave for being creative, basically. Then I was doing a short course on stop motion animation, which one of my friends didn't know what the difference between stop motion animation and 3D animation, who met Rock Hunter, people from Rock Hunter, thought, oh, okay, I have a friend who does animation and you guys do animation. So let me put two together. And then when I realized it's nothing to do with what I was doing at that time, but it still seemed super interesting and fascinating. I thought, why not? I asked them if they do an internship, if they take people on to train. And at that time, it was Robert, who was one of the founding director. He said, yes, they do. And I think I've chased them about a year to get that position, training position. And then they took me on for a couple of days a week to basically sit in front of a computer with a training book saying, open such and such page, let's attempt to do this. And this is how I've basically learned, sitting in front of the computer, attempting to do these tutorials and asking people who were there who had more experience, basically. So I think within 6 months, if I'm not wrong, I've started doing small images, very basic stuff, renderings, etc. So yeah, that's how I started. And even though it's a coincidence, I've thoroughly enjoyed my journey in creating images, and from there to here,
Yeah.
it's a massive, massive progress leap. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been, I think, nearly 16 years now.
Yeah. And do you feel like you bring something from the theatre and drama background into your image making for Arch Viz in terms of stage design and, setting up a composition and stuff?
I think at the beginning, that's how how I approach things in terms of lighting. As you said, it's almost like creating a stage. And when you are looking at images, you look at what the obvious story is, and then you look at small sub stories within those images. You have a signifier and a signified. What is the obvious story that you want to tell with your image, and what is the subtle stories, how you want to lead people, how you
Can you
want.
explain that? What's the signifier and signified? What does that mean?
Okay, uh, it's having a theme, or for example, that could be a word, that could be an object, that could be a color, that you have in your image or in your story, or that
Right.
could be anything, basically,
Yeah.
advertisement, film. You
Hmm.
can incorporate that with anything. And then one thing that appears to be an obvious, but that actually triggers another story. For example, for certain cultures, maybe red could be, I don't know, it might mean something else than a Western culture, or that could be numbers, or that could be uh, a, a haircut, a style, the way you dress up, the way you put your makeup on, and so on. So there's like so many layered things, all these things that you can incorporate in your storytelling with your
Yeah.
images. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's an amazing background to have for the storytelling, because I think that every Arch Viz artist has been trying to incorporate stories into the image making and filmmaking, but sometimes bringing it at the end rather than thinking about it from the beginning. So it's interesting when you think about it from the beginning. So you mentioned you've been doing this over like almost 16 years. What's kept you motivated to keep making great work?
I think for me, it's as I said, this is a great platform for me to be creative. It
Mm.
allows me to be creative, and I like doing what I do. Um, and um, I think mainly that,
Yeah,
being able to express
yeah,
uh, yourself with the work that you do.
yeah.
That's the main thing. You can do any job. That, and we discussed this many
Mm.
times. You can be earning your living by doing anything, but it always boils down to, am I enjoying what I'm doing? Do I find myself as a person? Can I express myself with what I'm doing?
Yeah,
Um, that's the main, I think, yeah, part.
yeah. Do you think that the way that you express yourself with your image making has developed over the years as you've developed as an artist? Not just improved quality wise, but do you think that it's changed in any way?
I think so, definitely.
Yeah,
But, and everyone has a style, I think. Mine, I guess mine has a tone as well. Like people's images, when you look at certain artists, if they've been doing it for a long time, they also somehow uh, create their own style as well. And you look at
mm,
it, and you go, okay, this is so and so's, I think, because of the lighting, or because of the way they use colors and so on. It's
Yeah.
almost like same as each studio has their own style too, that you
Yeah.
have to adapt. Like if you go to a new studio, yes, you have individual style, but you also have to have that studio style to carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that being an artist is more than just a professional thing? Do you think it's a personality thing? Calling yourself an artist, I guess.
I guess so. I'm not sure about that actually. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. What does it mean for you? Because I know that, like, when I first started doing like, I used to be hesitant to call myself an artist because I thought it meant something different. And then when I, first had artist in my title for a job, I thought, now I'm allowed to call myself artist. But I've met other people who think that, if you're creative, you're an artist, even if you don't do it as a job. I'm wondering, what does it mean for you in terms of how you identify?
Okay. I mean, totally. I agree. You can be a bakery, but you can still be an artist. I think if you put your creativity into what you do, and then if you somehow share that creativity with other people, you can turn a very simple blank wall in a state by doing a graffiti or something, turn it
Yeah.
into a massive art spot,
Yeah.
um, like Banksy does now and then here and there in London.
Yeah.
He did that recently, actually,
The
just round the
tree.
corner. Yes.
It's around the corner from you. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah, it's
right.
not so far. While I was cycling, I saw it. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
That's
Where he,
cool.
turn that corner into a place where people are gathering and yeah, appreciating his art.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything can be art. Anyone can be an artist, and anything can be an art, I guess, in some ways, as long as you put your heart and soul in it. I don't know. That's how I see it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I want to speak to you about something I think is really interesting, and you and I have talked about a lot. You have an amazing child who you mostly brought up as a single parent. Can you tell me about your experience with that in terms of working in our industry?
Mm. Okay. Yes. I think yeah, she was 2.5 when I separated, divorced. So yeah, I've been single mom. She's now 14. Um, it was challenging at times, maybe more than I'd like to have those challenging times. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. At that, when I had my kids, that was 2009. So around that time, 2009, 10, 11.
Hmm.
Um, even though there were some women in the industry, but there weren't so many as, let's say, as many as now, which
Yeah.
is actually. And I've never heard anyone being mom, having kids, having family in the industry, let alone,
Yeah.
another female sort of that I could look up to. Um, and that had its challenges, because there were moments where I had to leave work on time to pick up my kid, and that would, of course, be a bit sort of seen as you're leaving early rather than on time,
Yeah.
because
Which is
you know
crazy if you think about it.
I know because you, as you know, it's always been long hours and so on in our industry. At least it was like that back in that um back in that time. Now we've progressed so much. A lot of people have family, and a lot of people understand that you have commitments outside of work. This is
Mm.
not your whole life. there's another life outside of work. Yes, this
Yeah.
is a creative industry. Yes, everyone uh, loves what they're doing. I guess this is part of why people do long hours and put up with the hardship of the industry
Yeah.
because of the passion and the love of work. But at the same time, there comes to a point where when you know there's another life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially
I
when you.
definitely, especially when you have children. But I feel like I've spoken to this about this with many other people who, for various different things. Sometimes it's about being a parent. Sometimes it's about having extracurricular, commitments or interests. And um, the industry, as I remember it around that time too, and other art industries that I've been in, didn't seem to cater for anything outside of, you have to show your dedicated love by working all the hours in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
So why do you think it's changed? What do you think has spurred on the improvement that you've seen?
Uh, Definitely having more female in the industry
Right.
has a big impact. One thing, and second, I think even including male workforce. I guess now there's a generation which is older generation,
Hmm.
which has family, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, okay, perhaps this is not the way to work. Can
Yeah.
be can be better. I mean, um, even having health insurance or pension scheme or very very basic things that you have, life insurance and etc. In many workplaces, whereas in our industry that wasn't very widely sort of spread. uh I thing that you would get, you know.
Yeah.
So the benefits that you would normally get from normal workplaces, it's yeah. So, but now this is coming a bit more part of the culture, part of the workforce, which is great, I think. And
Yeah.
everyone is asking what the benefits are. Okay, I'm going to come. I love my work. I love my job. I love being creative, but what am I going to get from it?
Yeah. So that's great. So you think people's expectations, working expectations, has pushed companies to actually take that seriously, and everyone benefits from that, don't they?
Yeah,
Like every young person, every person joining a company. I mean, they probably always wanted those benefits, but maybe were too afraid to ask. And when it's something that's important to you,
yeah,
you ask for it. That's great.
yes, definitely.
Yeah. What other challenges did I mean, are there any other challenges that you found being in what used to be a male dominated environment and still sometimes is a little bit, but definitely got better um in our industry? Or any other challenges that you found as a mother?
Um, of course, um, when it was more male dominated, it was a bit more difficult to express your needs. Even if you did, you would seen as, oh my god, you know, another whining from a female. No, it was a good,
I know.
yes, that
That's
kind
right.
of attitude, which is
It is.
belittling and not so encouraging. But that was the fact. That's how it was. I'm glad we're over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what your experience has been with hybrid working or working from home, I guess during COVID, everyone had to experience that for a time. Do you think that that helped in some way in terms of using your hours a bit more flexibly?
I think, yeah, that definitely shifted the whole working culture, hasn't it? Like not only for our industry, but for across the whole working in this work industry and work culture generally, basically. So yeah, that definitely did make a huge impact, and a very positive impact too. Now it's been proven that things can be done. Yes, at times it has its own, downside, I guess. If you have to work from home all the time, which I find it difficult, I still prefer going into office most of the time, and having human connection and communication. It's so much easier and so much healthy for me anyway.
Yeah. I found the same. I was working remotely pretty much solidly for 4 years, and now I'm working a hybrid situation that I find just so nice to leave the house. Like talk to other people. It's great.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's got to be a balance, I think, because there are moments when you need to work from home. When you have your kids, you need to pick them up from somewhere, or something's happening, and it's so much easier to work from home for that day, and then for the rest, perhaps going into the office, because it's, again, obvious reasons and so on.
So I've been working with a few people who have young children in the last few years, and they found the working from home really great. The flexibility that, for example, if you have to go and pick up your child at 4 o'clock, I'm going to be offline between 4 and 6, and then I can come back on and do the rest of my work, and there's no problems, which I thought was great compared to a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 work culture where it doesn't really correspond with school times, I guess, pickup times. I think that seems to be, I know that your child's a bit older now and maybe that's a little bit easier. So
yeah. I mean, I wish I had that when she was younger. I wish that, because I remember, especially when I was working from far away from where we live, and I had to travel so many times, having panic attacks in the train, in the tube, because the tube got stuck in the middle, where you can't have access to phone, you can't call saying to the nursery, hey, I'm running late because the tube got stuck. And then I would just panic, thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to reach? And
yeah, that must have been so difficult. I mean, we panic anyway when we don't have our phones on us, like even if we don't have anyone to be responsible for.
Yeah,
that's true. I want to talk to you about something else that's really interesting. So we've talked about before how we don't see many Arch Viz artists in their late 40s and above, and where do they go to? So where artists can progress from senior artist position. Do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
All right. Yeah. Now that I'm mid-40s, obviously, again, I'm thinking, hang on, have I ever seen anyone retire from our industry? What happens when we get older? Is there only a couple of options? People who spend so much time in the industry, they either have their own company, or they become directors or partners in the company that they work, or become art directors, right? So if you think about other workforces, you don't necessarily have to have that progress. You don't have to be either, you start a career and then end up having your own business. Otherwise, it doesn't work. That idea doesn't fit in my head. In our industry, when you start, there's an expectation that you either have to progress and become either a partner or art director, or become freelancer. So this is nothing. If you work and then you come to a certain age, you progress to a certain point, but you don't have the other options, i.e. becoming a partner, i.e. becoming art director, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you can become a senior artist, in your, let's say, late 20s, right? So you can progress really quickly through whatever company when you start and you graduate, you become a senior artist. And then the options seem limited, don't they? And I found this, and many people I spoke to found this, that it doesn't seem okay to stay as a senior artist. Sometimes for yourself, and sometimes for the other companies or companies you work at. They're like, how come you're just a senior artist still? And okay, that should be okay to be a senior artist, and there should be other progressions, because, like you say, if the option is to become a director, you can't all become directors. There's not enough director positions. Companies don't work very well like that, right? And where do people go to? So what have you found in your experience? Have you found attitudes being strange about that, or have you heard of any other people? Or I guess maybe I'm asking you, are there any ideas that you have that could be a great alternative of, like, for example, I think senior artists, you could carry on as an artist and not, because being a director and like being an art director, creative director, is like a different job. You're not necessarily making artwork anymore. And if you're someone who just wants to keep making artwork and progress and get better but still be an artist, do you think maybe there should be another title above senior artist that still means you're doing artwork? For example, like, there could be more ways to progress and stay in the industry as, a super duper artist. I don't know, that's not change that name. I'm obviously not very good at thinking about the names, but
yeah, I don't know. This is something that I haven't got a clue. It's obviously came to my attention in the recent years. Now that I am aged, I'm thinking, okay, what is there? Like, if I don't want to become an art director, what do I do? What are the options? Do I carry on as senior artist for the rest of my career? Then am I being judged for staying as a senior artist because you spend many years doing this job? So the attitude then starts turning towards you, thinking that you spent so much time, you need to progress. Why haven't you progressed? Is this it? Kind of, and then you ask that questions to yourself as well. Is this it? Am I going to progress? But what am I going to progress into? What is that? What are the options? So
what do you? So let's talk about that a bit, because do you think that changing your title is a sign of your progress? In the eyes of the company you work for, yes. But do you think there's a difference? If they just gave you a new title after a certain number of years, does that make a difference to your artwork?
I don't know. Does it? I guess it doesn't. Does it really matter? Then the whole question of what am I like? What is the progress? What is this? That the whole status concept.
Yes,
Status concept within the industry. The expectations of status as well. So if you've done it so long, then you should be able to be on this level or that level, but with a title. Doesn't really matter what you do or how you do it, but as long as you have the title. So I don't know. This is a gray area for me. As
Yeah.
in, I haven't figured it out. I don't know if anybody out there has figured it out. Please
Yeah.
let me know, because I am feeling it at the moment. And these are the questions I'm asking myself, because yeah, you come to a certain point,
hmm
and then you question.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone in that for sure. I've spoken to many people now from mid-30s and above, really, who are finding this, and it's very limiting. And my feeling is you don't want to stop great experienced artists from staying in this industry because they're running out of options, and as it's awesome. I think it's really awesome to have young new people coming into this industry, bringing fresh ideas and new talent and skill, which is awesome. And it's also great to have experienced people who have done things for many years, who have experienced different situations that young people can learn from. I think those relationships are really good to have together, and it's such a shame if there's nowhere that people can progress with all this experience. I know a few people who've been told you have too much experience for this role. And I wonder, how is that bad thing?
Yeah, how is that a bad thing?
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And as you get older, your skills are so much different than young people who are coming in fresh. They're faster, they're more they're more aware of the latest technology now with the
Mhm.
AI and etc. So your set of skill set is not as required as it used to, or it's not
Mhm.
in use as it used to. So, but at the same time, because you have so much experience, like I was talking about, telling a story with your image, but there are, layered stories, not just one obvious story. So how do you do that? And that all comes in with experience. And yeah, all the generation in the industry, I guess, can be a bridge in some ways with the knowledge of experience, and with young people bringing new talent and new technology, and fast, and things that are fresh
Yeah.
ideas, and they could be all intertwined, and intertwined into a better way of achieving what's required.
Yeah. Do you ever feel kind of pressure to stay on top of new technology? And do you ever find that kind of a little difficult?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, there's so many stuff coming out,
Yeah.
and also so many stuff coming out that I'm not interested in. Some of the
Mm.
things doesn't really interest me, doesn't appeal to me. Do I want to learn? Do I want to put extra time apart from doing your daily work? No, I don't. But there are certain things that they are fascinating, and I want to, yes, for extra time learn, but not all of it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's impossible to learn all of it generally. And people tend to sort of pick the things that they want to focus on and become experts in. But when you do it over time, I know that I know a lot of artists who've sort of decided these are the tool these are the this is the technique maybe that I'm sticking with, and I'm just going to become a master at that. But like you said, the option for those people probably to start their own, either go freelance or start their own businesses where they're not pressured to know all the latest things that keep coming out. That's I guess one of the reasons people stop working in a studio and
Yeah.
just go by themselves is that they can pick whatever
It-
technology they want to stick to, right?
yeah.
Because
I
understandably, an Arch Viz studio maybe feels the need to keep up with every latest thing to be competitive, right? Yeah,
whereas as I guess as a person, you don't have to be competitive with everything or everyone,
yeah,
but whoever comes to you for a specific style and specific services.
yeah. So maybe, maybe that would be a great solution if Arch Viz Studios had instead of just having like, junior artists, mid artists, senior artists, directors, maybe they could branch off into different areas of expertise and be like, this is the person who, storytelling extraordinaire,
Really?
senior storytelling extraordinaire, AI specialist, senior real-time artist. Like, I think maybe branching off into different specialities allows people to progress in something rather than having to juggle being good at everything and then finding a limit.
Yeah, definitely. I guess
Maybe.
DBOX is doing that, to be honest. They have people who are just focusing on AI
Yeah.
and spending more time on AI. And there are different fields and areas. Yeah. So, uh,
Do you so going back to, I guess, being a mother, and when you were a mother of a young child when you started out, do you have any advice for what you'd like to see improve for young female artists or new mothers starting out today or in the industry at the moment?
I think like as it is now, there's a flexible flexible hours is an option that helps a lot. And for young moms, they can do it. If I've done it with the limited sort of uh, opportunities, not opportunities, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I guess limited
Uh,
workplace um
limited,
allowances.
limited or limited flexibility, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
That's flexibility. If I've done it, yeah, uh, I guess it's definitely uh feasible, possible.
yeah,
Um, but as I said, our industry is way more sensible and much more flexible at the moment and accommodating young mums.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And what advice would you give an artist starting out in the industry today? Just any artist. Is there any advice?
Um, I think if you're a young artist, to to indulge in art generally, like because you can't just stick in your head in Arch Viz and then think I'm gonna learn everything and I'm gonna be inspired from from this point and from this only, because yeah, it's every part of life that you get inspired by, whether that's the nature, that's art, that's music, just being open and finding some aspects in life that you enjoy doing, that you can incorporate into your image making.
Yeah, yeah, definitely be inspired by different artworks and art
Yeah,
styles and different things outside of Arc Viz for sure.
yeah, yeah.
And I think you're my inspiration.
Well,
I'm so glad that I met you when I started out in Arc Viz, and I mean, on a personal level for sure, but also professionally, I feel like you have progressed. It's been so great to see your career progress as it has, and you're such an amazing artist. I think anyone working with you at the moment would be lucky.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Oh my God.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being really open. I mean, I love this discussion. I'd love to have this more and carry on talking about this kind of thing, because I think anyone who's finding similar challenges, for example, might really appreciate to hear other people are going through it. I've heard so many people having the exact same questions and queries and discussions around this, around working as a mother, around working and past the age of 40, and where is everyone in Arch Viz when the rest of the working world is working till into their mid 60s at least, right? And a great some great options of what we can hope for in the future.
Yes, definitely. This was a amazing discussion from me too. I mean, I love talking to you anyway, so this was like a
we just recorded it this time.
Yeah, exactly. We're just having our little catch up discussion recording.
Thank you so much, Gunay.